definitely there was corruption during this period.
The war rewrote everything.
It is a very strong mandate for Viktor Orban.
I think it's sad. It's really sad.
Következmények láncolata, nemzetre nem vagyok, hanem kitervelt és irányított.
It is a very strong mandate for Viktor Orban. I think he will be very influential at the European level.
Well, it was quite depressing and shocking, and I am surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised, and I think it's sad. It's really sad.
With this strong mandate will be clearly a strong influence on the European decision making about the future of Europe.
Definitely there was corruption all the time during the previous government, and definitely there was corruption during this period. That's human.
Одна, єдина, соборна Україна! Одна, єдина, соборна Україна!
Over Ukraine! Over
The war rewrote everything. So rewrote all the agenda and the whole campaign. So everybody was preparing for a campaign, the opposition, the governing party was also, and of course the Russians' attack on Ukraine did rewrite all scenarios.
It was never a personal good relationship. It was the Hungarian interest, economic interest, to have a relation to Russia, because 85% of our gas supply is coming from Russia and 60% of our oil supply is coming from Russia.
Ez egy óriási hazugság, amit Orbán Viktor azért talált ki, hogy valahogy lemossa magáról annak az ódiumát, hogy 12 éven keresztül Putyin szövetségese volt, sőt, tulajdonképpen az orosz érdekek kiszolgálója volt Magyarországon és az Európai Unióban.
Viktor Orban's idea of politics is that he needs to control a certain part of media because he had two election losses in the 90s and in the 2000s, and he learned from these losses that what matters most is to have favorable coverage in media. 500
media outlets are controlled by Fidesz. The public media is used by Fidesz. It doesn't serve public interest. It absolutely serves Fidesz interest.
So it has been his mission for years to establish a loyal pro-government media empire. And one way he did this is that, for example, the Hungarian state, through state-owned banks, gave loans to businessmen connected to the government who then used this money to buy up media outlets.
Our data show that 6.8 million citizens can be reached by the liberal media and 6.8 million people can be reached by the conservative media in Hungary. The public media, this is a Hungarian tradition, is more a pro-government media. It was also before Viktor Orban a pro-government media, but it does not mean that the liberal, leftist and opposition-friendly media could not send their messages to the citizens.
Our government claims that Hungary is still governed by rule of law, that it's still a democracy, but in reality we have seen a huge erosion of this system.
I would call it a postmodern autocracy.
In the 20th century, there was a traditional model based on ideology, mass repression, fear. The dictators would terrorize their population into submission. Today, most dictators are actually spin dictators who try to remain popular through manipulation of information.
Actually, I'm coming from the countryside, and there the people, the view how they are seeing the things is completely different. And I was, participating on the refugees, helping to the Ukrainian refugees. And many old people came, oh yes, it's because of the other parties. If Orban won't win, we will go to the war. And this everything is because of the other parties. So people has a really, really small view.
well, they will continue what they were doing. We will be more separated from Europe. We will be more going toward the system of Mr. Putin.
They run elections, but they want to control them through manipulation of the media, through implicit censorship, through co-opting elites or journalists. And in that sense, they're still non-democratic leaders.